So, one way or another, this is the end of our road. Shall we go?
Stay here, Martin. Someone needs to take charge of the spire.
I thought you might say that. Meister Wolf doesn't lack for nerve, but the man's a bit mad. Seems wrong, though. We started this journey together. I would have liked to have been there at the end.
You're a good friend, Martin. Take care.
Remember, out of all the survivors of the Legion, the Radiant Youth chose you. I think he chose well, and I'd follow you down any road. Goodbye, my friend.
Praised. You're here. You won't believe what's happened. It started just before you...
Is the chapter house under attack?
Not just the chapter house, more like the whole bloody valley. Something terrible is happening. It's like the sky's been set afire. Come with me. I'll show you.
Legionnaire, it seems that you've arrived just in time for the end.
You should be with your people, Lazar. They need your leadership now.
If I could reach them, I would. That path is closed to me, alas.
He's right. The entire West Wing has collapsed. Returning to town is impossible.
What could have caused the walls to collapse? This place is a fortress.
Look! The signs are all around us. Stars are dropping from the heavens and we are all going to die. You see? It is folly to think of hope.
Are you quite finished? I can get you to safety in the...
Causeway? But I thought only Legionnaires were allowed to...
This is fascinating, but there should be less talking and more fleeing, yes?
Excellent point. To the causeway, then. Wanted to do this. To travel by causeway like the Legionnaires of old.
I'm happy for you. It would be a shame to get this close only to die under a pile of rock.
Go on. Head through the causeway.
Here, take this key. You'll need it to unlock the door downstairs. Until our paths cross again. Hopefully sooner than later, hey?
come to the end of things. I do not say this lightly, but I would rather be nowhere but here, at your side. Protect us. What is that thing?
Jane Cassandra is close. She found her way to the tree at the center of the forest, and she's waiting for you there. I came to warn you. She is not alone.
She's called the other Archons back to life. I've already seen them. And another creature, too.
Not just the Archons and the Devas. Something much worse. It hasn't taken shape. Not yet.
印度风，刚刚那个是那个四面佛。
So those four-armed demons have a name.
No one has seen a Deva since the dawn of the world. They serve the creator gods, just as the Archons did. If Archons were couriers and envoys, then Devas were soldiers, the wrathful hand of their gods. Even then, they were said to be terrible, but not as monstrous as you see them now.
What's happened to the Archons? Why do they look so strange?
The power at the heart of this forest has been twisted and ruined. That is Jane's fault. Though she doesn't understand what she's done wrong.
Jane called something else back to life?
Nothing I have seen before. But anything is possible here. This forest grew from a seed of the first creation. It's alive with the power of the old creator gods. Jane has tapped that power. She has used it wrongly, yes. But it won't matter. If you strike now, you can still defeat her.
We have to end this. Our allies won't be able to stop her with...
The presence that is taking shape. It forced me from the grove. Its power is much older than mine. But I will try to weaken Jane's allies. To stop as many as I can from coming to her aid. And I will be with you again. Before the end.
This place is coming apart at the seams. Hurry! This place is coming apart at the seams. Hurry! Jane Cassandra is near. Let us finish this, yes? I have never seen magic on this scale.
So you followed me here. You are stubborn. And I admire you for that. But you should never have come. I have restored the Archons to life. Just as I promised.
You call them Archons? Their fire's cold and dark. Nothing like me or your handmaids.
No, they are not as they were. But they are bound to me. And they will follow my word. The Archons are not all that has returned. The power of creation still lives in this... Even the creator gods themselves.
Something is taking shape. There, in front of the tree.
The voices of my mother's gods. I cannot hear them anymore. Not even a whisper.
They are lost. You will not see them or hear them ever again.
You lie, child. Or whatever you truly are behind that innocent face.
No, Jane Cassinder. I speak the truth. What remained of your mother's gods has been destroyed, and the power of creation has fled this grove. It will never return.
You told me that this forest grew from a seed of the first creation. Is it dead then?
That cannot be. My mother searched for thousands of years, and this was the only remnant of her gods that she ever found.
The power in this forest might have been used to restore the old gods and all their servants to life. Not the twisted half-life that you gave them, Jane Cassinder. A true rebirth, as they were at the dawn of the world.
哦，还不知道哎，
You called upon that power
我
to
没有
destroy,
之前没有玩过，
not to create.
不知道我没有全部，就继续
You
看下去吧。
twisted the power of creation to your own ends, until all that was left was an empty shell, rotted from within. And now, it is gone.
Why did this power respond to Jane, and no one else?
Jane's mother was first sister. When she died, her fire passed to Jane. The first sister stood at the right hand of her gods. Only pale shadows of their minds persisted in this grove. That is why Jane saw her gods in visions and dreams, just as her mother did before her. And that is why Jane could unlock the power that was buried here.
And the Archons I fought in the forest? The ones that Jane restored to life?
Dead, wilted like blossoms, and scattered to the wind. When you slew the reborn god, all Jane's creations were undone. In time, the forest will recover. But it will be ordinary, no longer the Mornweald.
The forest was already corrupted, even before Jane tried to call the Archons back to life.
The first time Jane called on the power of the old gods, it was to murder Hugh Montbaron 30 years ago. She knew she was misusing that power, but she was too full of anger, and she didn't care. After that, the Mornweald grew rotten and sick. All its potential for good was lost.
So she came back, and made the same mistake a second time.
Yes, driven by anger again. So the Archons that she called back to life were nothing but monsters. It was the same for the Creator God. The creature that you fought was shaped by Jane's fury and guilt.
Guilt?
Yes, Jane Cassinder. You can hide your remorse from yourself, but you cannot hide it from me.
We have a decision to make. What to do with Jane.
Not yet. There is one thing more. The other Archons did not lie. You died in this forest, and 30 years ago, you were given new life. Here in this grove.
And you were the one who carried me out of the forest, for Odo to find me. So it was you who restored me to life?
I carried you out of the forest, yes. But I didn't give you life. I have no power over the old gods, or their creations. It could only have been the Creator gods, whatever was left of them, that called you back to life.
If they gave me new life, it was just after Jane destroyed the Legion. The forest was already becoming corrupt.
Perhaps the Creator gods knew they were doomed, and they wanted you to destroy them, to undo Jane's mistake. We'll never know for sure, but if that's true, then you've honored them.
And Jane? What of her?
Think of all the people who call this woman a saint. Do you truly want her blood on your hands?
I expect no mercy from the Legion. Do as you like.
Before I pass judgment on you, I want to know why you acted as you did. Honestly, and in your own words.
Why did I slaughter so many legionnaires who had no part in killing my father, the king? I was young, full of anger. My father was dead by the Legion's hand. So I raised an army. I swore to avenge him myself, if I had to carve my way through every chapter house in Ebb. If the other legionnaires had handed over Mont Baron, I would never have hunted them down. But they were so stubborn. So that was wrong of me. I should not have punished the whole Legion for Mont Baron's sin.
You're sorry for killing the Legionnaires, but not for killing Mont Baron.
No. I would kill him again. He murdered my father. And I don't care what his reasons were. You asked for honesty. There you have it.
The Mournweald was sacred to your people.
Mont Baron lured me to this place. Somehow, he knew what I was. And he knew that this forest was sacred to me. He believed that I would never dare to strike him down. Not in the presence of my mother's gods.
He was wrong. You used the power of the Mournweald against him.
Mont Baron was so arrogant. So sure that he'd outmaneuvered me. That smug look on his face. With no hint of remorse for what he'd done. I will never understand why the forest allowed him to enter, when so many others were kept out.
Unless your gods meant to test you. Perhaps they wanted to know if your devotion to them was stronger than your rage.
I never thought of that. If that is true, then I failed them.
You've told me why you destroyed the Legion, but why fight a war with the Queen?
I will answer your question with one of my own. Do you believe that Rosalind would make a stronger queen than me? And Rosalind, she has the heart of a lamb. Would you trust the rebuilding of this kingdom to a sheltered little girl?
If Rosalind falters, the Legion will keep the country whole.
Be careful. I hear the echo of Hugh Mont Baron behind those words. Take too strong a hand, and the people will cast your Legion down again.
I have no more questions. I've made my decision.
And I am ready for your judgment, though I know what it will be.
No, you won't die today. I promised Rosalind that I'd spare your life.
Little Queen Mouse. I owe my life to that cringing girl. That is a fine irony. Am I to be your prisoner, then? Paraded through the streets in a gilded cage.
Atone for all the suffering you've caused. Help us to rebuild the kingdom.
You are not the Legion I remember. They were arrogant, and they would never have proposed such a thing. Very well. You have my promise. I will use what influence I have to help you heal this country. Let the war between us end.
By those words, Jane Cassinder, you are bound to the Legion now.
It's over then.
For now, you deserve a rest. But it may be short-lived.
We need to build our strength and train more Legionnaires.
You will find many willing to join the Legion now. Even a few who might surprise you. And you will need them soon. The country is still divided, and the Legion has many old enemies. But you've shown yourself to be fair, as well as strong. Whatever happens, the people of Ebb will stand behind you.
We should leave this place, no? Our future lies far from here.
We part ways then. I will be watching. And one day, I will see you again.
You bid farewell to the Radiant Youth, and he sent you back to our chapter house in Stonebridge, where I awaited your return. In the weeks that followed, news spread of Jane Cassinder's defeat. Her armies scattered, giving us time to rest and regroup. Martin Guiscard returned safely from the Spire, along with Meister Wolf and the Automaton army. Only a few weeks later, elections were held in Stonebridge. Meister Wolf, who had been so public in his support of the Legion, almost won the office of mayor. But he was defeated in the end. Many people had wanted the dapper old gent to hang. They resented the fact that the Legion had spared his life, and they blamed poor Wolf. After the humiliating events in the Foundry, Meister Castle was forced to resign as Guildmaster of Ironmongers. The Cyclopses negotiated a new contract for higher wages, and with the help of Meister Fiddlewick, formed a new workers' union. For the first time in 100 years, they were permitted to leave the Foundry and spend their newfound wealth in the markets and taverns of Stonebridge. Cyclopses are becoming an increasingly common sight in Stonebridge, and many believe that they will eventually take their place as equal citizens of the town. Archambault du Payen, formerly known as the Dapper Old Gent, proved a valuable addition to the Legion. His knowledge of Legion magic allowed us to retake control of the Sentinels that had long guarded our chapter houses and estates. But the Gent couldn't leave our chapter house without drawing an angry mob. His confinement started to drive him mad. So he returned to his beloved causeways, beneath an endless sky, and he dwells there still. With the reopening of the Heroes Crypt, pilgrims returned to the Rukenval, and merchants followed. The following winter was harsh, just as Lazar Basili feared. But thanks to the trade from the south, the people of Ravensrill stayed warm and fed. When spring came, many more pilgrims arrived, and the town of Ravensrill grew wealthy again. Lazar and his people built a new stone wall around the town, and reclaimed their abandoned houses and farmsteads from the forest. It is a happy change of fortune for a long-suffering town. In his last letter to me, Lazar added one other piece of news. Gunderic Manor has a new mistress, a witch called Leona. The manor has become a gathering place for scores of Lescanzi witches, many of whom are apparently quite new. Lazar reports that the young men of Ravensrill have also begun frequenting the manor, much to the irritation of their mothers and wives. Since the local men will not hear any talk of banishing the witches, it appears that Leona and her people have found a new home, which was perhaps what she intended from the start. Queen Rosalind abandoned Glitterdelve, embarking on a tour of all the cities and towns of the West, meeting as many of her subjects as she could. The Queen showed all the energy of youth, and I think she fully expects to reunite the country in a matter of months, not years. Reality may not be so kind, as Lord Devonsey has tried to make her understand. In truth, the future of this country depends more upon what we decide. If she doesn't have the Legion behind her, the Queen is only a single voice, well-meaning though she might be. As for Devonsey himself, I think the man was impressed by your decision to spare Jane Cassinder, as the Queen had asked. When he last visited Stonebridge, he spent a great deal of time in our chapter house. I believe he might actually be willing to rejoin our ranks, if we choose to accept him. Rajani and her sisters returned to Stonebridge, quietly and carefully disguised. Jane Cassinder's defeat affected them deeply, though not in the way I expected. Their devotion to Jane was replaced by a deep admiration for you. I think they see in you the leader they should have followed all along, and they have lately expressed a desire to join our ranks. I maintain my suspicion of any Archon who once followed Jane, but I believe that redemption is not impossible, even for them. Jane Cassinder was as good as her word, though I had my doubts at first. She returned to the cities and towns of the East and urged the people to end their war with the Legion and the Crown. Jane's repentance was heartfelt, and many were swayed by her words. But others have not been so compliant. The Church Synod in Bisselberg, who once called Jane a saint, have declared her apostate and threatened her life. Though Jane refuses bodyguards of any kind, Queen Rosalind fears for her life. And if anything befalls her, our gains in the East may yet be lost. As for the Legion, the rest of our story is yet to be told. We have a nation to reforge, a fellowship to rebuild, and old enemies who would see us destroyed. And we have questions to decide. Who will assume true power in Ebb if the nation is restored? And who will take the mantle of Grand Master? But these matters I leave for another chronicle and another time. Whatever happens, know that you will not face the future alone. The Legion will stand by you, always.